So welcome to our CIES 2017 closing ceremony. You guys are the survivors. It's great to see you here. Wow. And I know that I saw some of you at our opening ceremony, which is really, really remarkable and laudable. So our conference now draws to a close, and we have several special things to share with you. One, to begin with, is a short video that captures some of the work we have done here together as a group of people who came to problematize inequality, as a group of people who came and ended up also protecting the instinct to care, and as a group of people who are going to be heading off in the years ahead to do some remapping. So why don't we start with the video, and then we'll move on to the second exciting thing coming up. I find it moving to see those pictures of all of us at work. It just reminds me that we are a community that comes together to learn from one another, to challenge one another, to be revitalized and energized by one another, and also to ask new questions of one another and with one another. We'll have that up on the website and encourage you to share it. Those are all photographs taken here in the last couple of days. And I really want to do a special shout out to one of my Loyola students, Laura Kick, who put that together. So I don't know if she's here, but let's just applaud her tremendous work. The second thing we have to offer you by way of reflecting on the conference and where we go from here is a spoken word performance by Jose Cossa and Rhonesha Blanche, who are unofficially or officially the Poet Laureates of CIES? Unofficially, the Poet Laureates of CIES. So please join me, from now on officially. So please join me in welcoming Jose Cossa and Rhonesha Blanche.
Hello? Can everybody hear us okay? All right. perceptual walls between us, robbing me from the sight of you. These fences of wood and barbed wire, visible and invisible, confining me to sight you but not experience with you. These divides that nurture the divisible over the indivisible, perceptual walls that created and nurture the other, othering me from you, othering you from me, creating the them and us, the them in us. Perceptual fences in nature creating the illusion of togetherness in a reality of otherness. Perceptual barbed wire fences eluding being yet fostering absence. Pointed edges, perceptual in nature yet real in torture. Isolationist divisionism plundering human dignity, plundering Ubuntu. Walls, fences, divides, and conquers.
That's what it does. It, being that imperial force, capitalist hegemonic demonic spirit of greed, lurking behind the lines of litigation, carefully constructing illusions of equality, equity, and opportunity to manipulate minds into believing that this is a form of fairness. These fictionalized fairy tales framed as freedoms, false narratives pacify us momentarily while politicians prepare policies to pimp poor people for profits to fill their pockets. Let us all remember that we are all members of the human race, or better yet, the human species, and stop trying to pour sugar over feces and stop engaging in voluntary amnesia, because there is no anesthesia to soothe the pain of moral extinction. The Berlin Wall was erected to divide from the east from the west, and the political lines of Africa drawn to purposely separate cultural groups. This issue is nothing new. Do we not learn from Dr. Seuss's depiction of McMonkey McBean's machine? Separating mother from child, brother from sister, on again, off again, in again, out again, until we all become uncomfortable in our natural skins.
I stand in my space and watch you over there. The there so close yet not so close, so rosy yet not so rosy. I stand in fertile ground while you on the other side of the fence stand in defense and in respect of your ancestors, whom I refuse to claim as mine too. The fertility of my ground, this fertile land, this physical space I call my own, is rooted in a reality that I choose to ignore. I categorically refuse to embrace the ancestral links that make us who we are.
Bantu. Mass media misconstrues our beauty as bad, negative, something to be feared or hated rather than celebrated. We can no longer afford the consequence of ignoring ignorance. Whether it's my natural afro that I choose to rock, the spirituality ingrained in my long locks, or if I shave my hair completely, will you assume the worst of me? Will I end up dead for choosing to cover my head with a hijab, yarmulke, a turban? Will you understand? If you notice me wearing a conical shaped hat in the midst of a rice field, a baseball cap to the back, or the hood of my sweatshirt, will you play judge and jury, shoot first, and refuse to answer questions later? Hypersexualization of black and brown bodies, misappropriation of indigenous styles and linguistic flows, exploitation, oppression, and poverty are the collateral damage of capitalism in this land.
This fertile land of our ancestors, bitter land to those whom Francisco de Vitoria called gentes, my co-native siblings whose physical presence is rooted in this soil, plunder dignities but never erased identities. Resilient spirits of our ancestors staying awoke, even in the silence of our physical voices, we the people shall stay awoke. Tina Bantu, Sihlala Epapam. This land, fertile land of our ancestors, bitter to those whom Immanuel Kant called uncivilized, unteachable, and teachable for servanthood, a categorization with a glass ceiling so low as Togo Bantaba structure, landscaping but not dreamscaping, not heartscaping, not soulscaping. Land escaping but not dream escaping, not heart escaping, not soul escaping. Dividing minds from hearts but not hearts from souls. Dividing bodies from spirit but not spirits from land. Land and soulfulness, land and being, land and paideia of the soul. How can we learn not if land is bitter? How can we learn if land is sweet? Lessons hidden in coloniality, hidden in modernity, concealed in negative homogenization. Tinabantu, Sishala, Epapama. Lessons embedded in coloniality, hidden in cosmopolitanism, concealed in negative equality. We, the people, shall stay awoke, holding bantabas, we with no rush to resolve, but with an earnestness to soulfully engage, de-rage, but also de-link, border think and also border engage, de-center and also de-peripherize, with no center, no peripheries. We no longer post-colonialize, post-slaverize, or post-imperialize. We are no longer indigenous, tribes, aliens, third world, developing nations, poor people, refugees. Walls, fences, divides, melting away as we evoke Sankofa to stay awake. We the people, shall stay
woke. Now that we have problematized the inequalities within our educational systems, let us resolve to truly fulfill the promise of comparative and international education with immediate yet thoughtful and intentional, unapologetic action. Let us consider that the answers to a brighter future are rooted in the lessons of our past and must be addressed in the present, because change starts with the individual in the mirror. Gandhi encouraged us to become the change we used to see in the world. Einstein hinted that we cannot solve our problems with the same level of thinking that we created them with. Chimamanda warned us of the dangers of a single story. We must unlearn the lessons of colonialism, imperialism. We pretend that we are post-colonial when it is still the framework of our curriculum, policies, our societal structures. We've been trying to see life through rose-colored lenses with colonial frames, constantly tipping the scales of justice for just us, while othering others. We must use our agency with urgency, even if we must act surreptitiously as educators to engage in advocacy, because education is political whether we acknowledge it or not. To engage in advocacy, and around 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the block is hot. No justice, no peace. The hate must cease. Cease to infiltrate what is supposed to be our safe space. If we are to dismantle the imperial walls that imprison our minds, we must no longer build educational institutions upon the blood-saturated graves of our ancestors. We must reclaim our humanity. Ubuntu, I see you. Somebody please lend me a pencil or a pen so that I may paint the pretty perpetual period at the end of the rhetorical statements that continue to divide us rather than bind us. I dream of a day when courtesy and respect for every living being in the universe is commonplace. When we finally acknowledge that while there are numerous cultures and there may even be many ethnicities in our societies, there is no room for race. This reminds me of the villains from my childhood cartoons, and I'm awaiting Superman or the heroes to save me from the villains, the wrath that they will ruin the world. We must be the heroes and the sheroes to dismantle these perceptual walls.
Thank you.
That was wonderful, remarkable. Thank you so much. And it's also a beautiful way to bridge from problematizing inequality to what we have on deck for next year in Mexico City. Regina Cortina had to catch a plane, is not able to be here to welcome you, but she asked me to say a few words about the conference coming up. And as you've seen on the back of your program, the title of our conference next year is Remapping Global Education, South-North Dialogue. And I want to read the first couple of lines and speak a little bit about the call for papers because we've been given such a beautiful segue. For many centuries, maps have been used to understand the world. Besides delineating geographic boundaries, maps have been marked by borders and hierarchies of knowledge and power between Old World and New World, East and West, North and South, and between and within nation states. And the call for papers goes on to propose that in some similar ways, comparative and international education is a field that's reflected some of those divisions, particularly those that represent differences between developed and developing nations. And as you see in the title, the suggestion that in Mexico City we're being invited to all participate in a South-North dialogue. The theme of CIES 2018, Remapping Global Education, aims to shift the starting point of research towards the global South to a greater extent. In my view, this is a wonderful way to continue to problematize inequality, and I think we'll see the conversations that have begun here continue and come to further fruition in Mexico City. So that will be March 25th to 29th of 2018. You have the details. The website, which is gorgeous, I don't know, I think all of Regina's assistants have left too, is up, and you can find excellent information there, and the call for submissions will be coming up over the summer. So on, you know, if Regina had just stepped down, we would all applaud her and wish her well. So let's do that, and let's make a commitment to coming to Mexico City next year. And just as a final word, I want to say that I hope you're all taking the Hate Has No Home Here posters back with you as a souvenir, as a statement. I explained in the opening ceremony that they come from a design and some ideas that were floated by children in Chicago public schools. So take that. Hate has no home here at CIES. I hope that hate has no home in the homes that you're returning to. And I hope at the same time, we need to recognize that there are those who are not able to return to homes. And that part of our work together is to make sure that for those that don't have homes, we can make homes, and we can make a world in which homes don't have hate. So let's leave with that. And perhaps we can just loop the video at the very end, because some people didn't get to see it when they walked in. But thank you all so much for coming to CIES 2017.